Welcome to the Intuitive Therapist Podcast with Janis Cohen, therapist, clairvoyant, empath, and medium. Listen in as she takes a no-nonsense deep dive into real human struggles and how to resolve them. Janis will share channeled information from her spirit guide team, as well as the angels and archangels, to help you master your emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual destiny. And now, Janis Cohen.
Hey y'all, this is Janis Cohen, the Intuitive Therapist here on the Intuitive Therapist Podcast. Hope y'all are doing well. When I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, I remember working with a woman who was deeply struggling. And all she wanted to have was relief from her pain. The challenge was she was fighting it. And she desperately wanted to let go of the burden that she carried. But instead of being able to lay it down, she found herself giving up instead. And she told me that she had tried several times to surrender, but that it hadn't worked. When I heard this, it jogged memories of my own struggle to find relief from my desperate attempts to ease my pain and suffering. And I can vividly recall the times in my life where I begged God to stop the emotional pain. I mean, begged. But nothing seemed to work. Only later did I find out why. If you're a human being who is living and breathing, then you too have met life where it excruciatingly hurts. And those times where your emotional wounds are wide open and the damaged parts just keep being jabbed with some sort of determined object, the pain just doesn't go away. And even though you say you're at the end of your rope and you want it to stop, it just doesn't. There really is no mystery to this thing called life. A saying that I've long stood by is let go or be dragged. This couldn't be more apropos for today's topic about the difference between giving up and letting go. Think back on those times where suddenly things let up, the pain seemed to change, and you found yourself breathing deeper, exhaling more, crying less, and feeling like you had connected to the light at the end of the tunnel. What was different about you then? What exactly did you do to bring that about? All of that release wasn't happening when you were begging God to end it, was it? You see, the trick to getting through the tunnel of the darkest days of your life is to reach this one particular point in your journey, and then everything changes. The woman whose story I mentioned to you at the top of the episode when I first started to talk, she kept intellectually trying to release her pain and actively create surrender. The thing was, her thinking herself through it wasn't the way to go, and it wasn't working. That never works because surrender rejects the mind's attempt to control it. Surrender or letting go only requires that you desire to release the hold you have on your pain, that it's genuine, and that you are really ready. And you cannot think yourself into being ready. You're just ready. You can't let go of pain if you aren't ready. No matter how many times you say that you are sick and tired of your life circumstances, or how many times you say that you can't take it anymore, until you are really ready, this is it. So when you reach the point of complete and utter submissiveness to the release, only then does it change and take flight, leaving you moment by moment or all at once. You see, Source, God, however you refer to your higher power, only requires one thing in order to swoop in and help you in painful times. And that thing is that you mean what you say when you say you want something, that you mean it. You cannot have an intention that is 50% genuine. You have to be all in. It's got to be a commitment. There's no intention, it's commitment. And the universe will know when you are full of shit. That's why people try to think themselves into surrender. They try to talk themselves into it. And it just doesn't work. So the minute you commit, the universe is like, I got you. Let's do this. So you have to be all in to be all out of pain. And then spirit, like I said, steps in. And then you got to hand it off to spirit, the spirit carriers, our angels. Okay? Your spirit guide team. And then they bring it to your higher power. So while this young lady was trying to let go with her mind, when I talked to her about letting go and surrendering, it made sense, and she realized that her being with her pain, her understanding it, her trying to use it, her being at a point where she said, I choosing to be in the pain isn't serving me. Okay, I let it go. Only then, when she divorced herself from the pain, from the attachment to the pain, did it go. When you let go, it means that you're freeing yourself from something that is no longer serving you. You don't need to hold on to it anymore. The pain has served its purpose to let you know that there is something you need to work on within yourself. But pain doesn't need to stay around. You need to take action to learn what you need to learn. And then pain all of a sudden is like, all right, I'm out. I'm going to go visit somebody else. Try to teach them. There is no more reason for it to stay. If you've ever experienced surrender, then you know exactly the point of sincerity that you need to get to. You know, and you can't force it. You'll find yourself feeling resourceless and ready to do whatever it takes to stop the torture you're feeling. You just know the exact moment to hand it over to God and let it go. When you give up, well, my dear, you're admitting self-defeat. You lose your power. It's that simple. It doesn't change anything. And it's the easy way out. You're like, well, I just can't do anything about this. I guess it's just supposed to be that I'm supposed to suffer. I call bullshit on that, y'all. Not true. Sometimes it's okay I always talk about kind of radical acceptance, but radical acceptance doesn't mean that you become a radical sufferer. Don't forfeit the fight in you, right? You're not fighting for surrender, okay? I want you to fight for yourself, for your happiness. Just realize, that, hey, you don't want to hold this burden anymore. And you don't have to be alone holding the burden. You have to call on the big guns to help you see what you can't see when you're struggling so that you can let it go, meaning the biggest thing is to not be in control of holding on to it. So letting go expands your well-being, your happiness, and your ability to recover from the struggles. And you can't think yourself into surrender, and you can't plan to let it go. And it happens in a split second when your soul says, I'm done with the pain. Take it, God. Take all of it because I don't know what else to do with it. I don't know what else to do with it. And what I'm doing with it isn't working. That is surrender. That is letting go. Trees lose their leaves, flowers lose their petals, and these things happen by nature of who they are. It's just a natural part of their life. They naturally let things fall away. When you give up, you're telling yourself that you don't trust yourself to deal effectively with what life is giving you, as if you have no impact, no involvement. And like I said, there are times in life where you just can't bear the burden yourself. Once you realize that the burden must be shared in order to eliminate it, then you can surrender. When you partner with the universe, when you stop believing that you're alone and you alone have to deal with things. But surrender won't happen one more moment earlier than that. I wish you a blessed day, a wonderful week, and as always, live intuitively.
Thanks for listening to The Intuitive Therapist. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share this podcast with a friend. And be sure to give us some stars and a favorable review at Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in.